A final from Milwaukee, but the series is not over. It is not final. No. We will have a Game 7 on Sunday in Boston, Sunday afternoon, because the Celtics stave off elimination 108-95. Thanks to Jason Tatum, who goes for 46 points on 17 of 32. Got some help from Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. Giannis really didn't get a whole lot of help from his supporting cast. Got 17 from Drew Holiday, 14 from Pat Connaughton off the bench. But Giannis does the heavy load here. 44 points, 20 rebounds. But he also had 6 turnovers in this game as they got up into Giannis. And look, the fourth quarter was exciting. They started the third quarter down by 13, did Milwaukee. They cut it to as close as 4. But then Jason Tatum just poured it on, hitting shot after shot after shot. So welcome in former NBA Coach of the Year, Avery Johnson, as a player helped the Spurs win an NBA championship in 1999. Avery, the Celtics stave off elimination. We have got ourselves a Game 7. Your reaction to what you saw in the fourth quarter there as the Celtics put it away?
Hakeem, you remember what Marcus Smart said? If you don't believe that we can win this game, talking to his Celtics teammates, don't get on the bus. Do not get on the plane. Do not even drive to the airport for departure time at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Boston. So he was right. He came up big. Sure, Jason Tatum is the story. 46 points in 43 minutes. Outstanding. But the big story is Marcus Smart, the way he knocked down those three-point shots, and then the subsequent three-point shooting overall of the Boston Celtics. They were lethal from the three-point line, just being able to get up, those 43 attempts, making, 17 threes. Milwaukee only made a dismal 7 threes. So, again, between Marcus Smart, the three-point shooting from the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum playing like a superstar to master the play of two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Boston Celtics are going back for Game 7 at home. What a phenomenal series.
What did you see from the side of Milwaukee? Giannis doing all of that he can do in this game, but not getting a whole lot of help from his supporting cast.
Well, I think you said it, not getting a whole lot of help. Basically, is Giannis and Drew Holiday. But again, guys like Brook Lopez, where are those guys? You need some help. Portis will throw in a few, but Giannis needs some more help. And you got to have that supporting cast. What does Giannis need to score? 65 for them to win a game? But again, they're going back to Boston. Boston has won 4 road games out of 6 games, so they're definitely capable of winning on the road. Milwaukee dominated in points in the paint, but Giannis and Drew Holiday, especially without Chris Middleton, they're going to need a couple of other guys to step up and play big for them, especially Bobby Portis. Maybe, a George Hill's got to throw in a few points. Pat Connaughton, he's represented himself well, but defensively, they just didn't do a good enough job as a team guarding the three-point line and limiting Boston's shots from long range.
If you're Mike Budenholzer, do you think about maybe a lineup change, subbing out Grayson Allen in the starting lineup for maybe Bobby Portis or Pat Connaughton, getting more minutes, getting more shots up?
I definitely agree with you. You got to get Allen out because he's a defensive liability. Go a little bit bigger. Giannis can defend all 5 positions. Try to make sure that you have a little bit more separation on the offensive rebounds and the defensive backboards. Put pressure on some of those smaller defenders with the Celtics. Maybe a Brown, force him to play some more post-up defense. He doesn't have to worry about doing that against Grayson Allen. So let's see what type of counter and adjustment Mike Budenholzer is going to make going into Game 7. Ime Udoka coached one of his best games of the series after not getting the ball to Jason Tatum in those last 2 possessions in that last game at Boston. He got the ball to Jason Tatum early and often, and Jason Tatum delivered. So let's see what kind of adjustments and how Mike Budenholzer is going to counter in Game 7.
Yeah, Tatum goes for 46 in this game. How do they disrupt him in a Game 7?
You got to get the ball out of his hands. You can do it a couple of different ways. When he was isolated several times tonight against, a Pat Connaughton or a Brook Lopez, you can see it here. It's just too much space. You got to run and trap him make one more pass, forced him to get deeper in the shot clock. Here you see him dominating Grayson Allen. You cannot allow Jason Tatum to go one-on-one against players like Grayson Allen or Brook Lopez. And then when he's in pick and roll situations, you got to trap him. You got to force them to play 4-on-3, 3-on-2. You can't allow Jason Tatum not only to get 46, but to get enough attempts up to have an opportunity to get 46 points.
46 points, second most when facing elimination in Celtics history. The only guy that had more was Sam Jones in 1963. He was a Hall of Famer in his days there for the Celtics. Tatum certainly on pace to be a Hall of Famer for the Celtics, considering what he's done early in his career. You have coached in a Game 7 before, Avery. What's that like? Give me the perspective from a head coach, knowing that this is the do or die. You move on or you go home and the season's over.
Hakeem, I did coach in a Game 7, and that was after being down 0-2 in 2005 when I first took over the Dallas Mavericks. We're down 0-2. We go to Houston. We tie the series up 2-2, and then it goes back and forth. And finally, we get to a Game 7. But the beautiful thing about our Game 7 against the Rockets back in 2005, I had a little bit of a curveball in my back pocket. I hadn't really showed the Rockets much 2-3 zone. We went to a 2-3 zone in the third quarter and went on an incredible run to really dominate the Rockets. They basically couldn't score. So, again, we'll see what happens with both of these coaches as they strategize to see what they have in their back pocket. You look at the end of this game with 10 minutes and 19 seconds to go, or 8 minutes and 19 seconds, the Celtics were up by 4 points. 2 seconds to go on the shot clock. Ime Udoka pulled out the oldest play in the world where he isolated the whole side, got the ball to Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum just shot the ball over the Bucks, made that shot, and there was no looking back. He hadn't really showed that underneath out-of-bounds play throughout the whole series. You got to have something. You got to have a curveball, a knuckleball. I had one. That's how we came back and beat the Rockets, and the rest in history. But Game 7s are a lot of pressure, but you got to have something up your sleeve. We definitely had something.
So you're 1-0 all time in Game 7s. 1-0. There it is. Switch the other hands, but that worked. That worked too. That worked too. We gotta go. Oh, here, one here. There we go. We got it. We're opposite here on TV. We're not like looking in a mirror here. I think people think that. So sometimes you gotta have you gotta be in sync there. Certainly the Celtics in sync as they force a Game 7 heading home. Game 7 on Sunday in Boston. Avery, appreciate the breakdown here on CBS Sports HQ.
Thanks, my friend.
All right, so Giannis got his, right? He had 44 points, had 6 turnovers, but again, didn't get a whole lot of help from the rest of his supporting cast. 51 points from the rest of the team combined as they go 22 of 58 from the floor, 5 of 26 from beyond the arc. Look, you don't hit your threes in a playoff game, you're not going to win. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, you can do the analysis. You don't hit threes, it's tough to win a game in the NBA playoffs, and now it's a Game 7 on Sunday in Boston.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.